What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Now today I have a full review on this boot right here, the Skechers SKX01. Now this is Skechers' first football boot, and I honestly think it's a pretty solid boot. I actually really enjoyed it. I really liked wearing it. So today I'm just going to talk about like my experience wearing the boot, like the performance and things I wasn't able to talk about in the first initial first impressions video. But yeah, before we start the video, if you guys could like and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. We're very close to 5K. Alright, so the Skechers SKX. Now, I actually really like wearing this boot quite a bit. And for me, I don't know, it's just like a fun boot to wear. And so I guess we'll just start with the upper. And now this is a knitted upper, but it does have some overlays. And so it doesn't really feel like sock-like. It's not really like a Nike Flyknit or anything like that. It's more like, it feels more like a synthetic. And even now that it is softer, it's still a little bit on like the plasticky side, even though it is a knitted boot. But it's not as plasticky as it was in the beginning. It's like you guys can see, it's a lot more pliable and a bit softer, but it still leans towards the plasticky side of things. And the upper itself isn't really that padded. It is basically on the thin side. Like there's no really internal like padded line or anything. It's just like the knitted upper itself. So you do get this like nice pinging sensation when striking the ball and when passing it. And I really like that sensation that you get from this boot. I just really like striking the ball with this boot and like just giving some passes. It just felt really satisfying and you really heard like that ping like sound. It's kind of barefoot in a way, but it felt like really nice. So if you like that pingy feel from your football boots, you're gonna really enjoy this one. And with the micro texture, you guys can see it's found all across the upper. And I only really noticed the texture when dribbling. I didn't really notice it when like shooting or like curling the ball. Maybe there was just a little bit more spin just because it does add a little bit more grip. And it's not like a sticky grip, it's like a rough like type of grip, like a sandpaper type of grip. And like I said, I only really felt it when dribbling. I just felt like a little bit more in control of the ball. I feel like it just didn't like slip away. So like the touch and the upper, I really enjoyed it. It's on the thinner side. It has a pingy feel, and there's just added texture, like added grip, because of this texture right here. Here in the middle, we do have like a knitted material, and this is fine. But here in the ankle, you guys can see how it's kind of curled in, and this is one thing that I really find annoying, that it just doesn't sit flush with like your ankle. It just looks very like weird, and it kind of makes it look really cheap. Like this just doesn't look nice. Like it just looks kind of ugly on feet, and it just, you guys can see, just curls in. I know they did make an update with like a new like knitted pattern here, and I think it actually looks better. But I'm pretty sure the upper itself is still the same. So it's, for me, it's not worth upgrading just because it is like the same boot. But the knit here looks a bit better with the ankle. Here in the heel, I found some heel slippage, mainly just like a little bit of movement like up and down slightly. Like my heel never popped out, but it just felt like there was just a little bit of movement here. And honestly, once I wore grip socks like with like grips on the heel, that problem went away. I didn't really have an issue afterwards. Maybe there's just not enough padding here in the heel. I feel like if they added just a little bit more padding or just made this a little bit thicker, that would actually solve like the heel lockdown. It just wouldn't allow your heel to move up, because that's the only problem. It just moves up. Like I didn't find that it moved side to side or anything. It just moves slightly up, and for me, that's just a little bit annoying because I do have to wear grip socks with these, but that does fix the problem. So other than that, like I have no slippage inside the boot whatsoever. And I guess that leads into performance, and the performance of this boot is actually pretty good. Like I feel because this upper is pretty nice and structured, there isn't really any stretch from this upper whatsoever. I feel like you get a good amount of lockdown, and there really isn't that much movement in the boot either. Like I feel like once you tie your laces very tightly, you're pretty much like locked in. I found like no movement when cutting across really hard or when doing my step overs. Everything felt fine. So performance wise, in terms of like the lateral movement, it's great. Even here in the toe box, you guys can see here it does have more volume in the toe box. I didn't really find that to like hurt the performance at all whatsoever. Like I still feel pretty locked in. And for me, the fit of this boot is actually pretty nice. It's kind of different just because it's pretty much straight all throughout until you hit like the toe. And even the toe, it isn't very like pointy. It kind of rounds off. So for me, it just fits really nicely. It's just a little bit wider in my opinion. So for me, like my toes don't feel like they're like being squeezed. They just feel very naturally placed. And in terms of like the width, there's decent amount of width. I wouldn't say this is an overly wide boot. I would still say it's an average width. And so if you have super wide feet, I really wouldn't recommend these. They probably just wouldn't stretch all that much. But if you have a slightly wider foot like myself, you should be able to fit in these with no problem. It might just take a little bit more time to break in, just because this upper doesn't really like stretch or anything. But it does get softer as you play with them, so I think it just needs a little bit of time to break in, and you guys should be fine. And if you have narrow feet, you should be fine with these as well. Alright, so now in terms of the sole plate, this sole plate is more on the firmer side and more on the responsive side. And you know, it fits well with the boot. I actually like it. Usually I like more of a flexible sole plate, but this feels really nice under feet. Like, there is a little bit of flexibility, but it does lean towards the firmer side of things. And the stud pattern here works great on AG. They're pretty small. They're kind of like conical, but they kind of have this little shape, more like this diamond shape kind of. And I found these to work perfectly fine on AG. I didn't have any issues getting stuck or anything. So overall, I think the Skechers SKX01 is an excellent boot, especially this being like their first like football boot. And would I pick this boot over other boots in the market, such as the GX or the Pred? Probably not. I think I just find those a little bit more comfortable. Like, I would wear these in a match, but for me, I just like the GX and the Pred a little bit more. And with the heel, it just a little bit annoying that I had to wear grip socks with it, just because I can't just wear like normal socks. So I find that a little bit annoying. But overall, I feel like the Skechers SKX, like I said, it's a very solid boot. It performs well. It has a nice touch. Like the added texture here, you do feel it when dribbling. And overall, I did enjoy wearing this boot. If you guys have any questions on this boot, make sure to leave them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you're notified for future videos. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.